Welcome to 9 is 10 Afterparty, the Unquiet Dead. Speaking of the titular corpses, they're off in the other room celebrating their 10th anniversary. Mr. Sneed's corpse is spreading around some Corona, like Vin Diesel would in the Fast and Furious movie. I'm not being sponsored, unfortunately. You've got the old lady from the start of the episode. She's been trying to get everybody on Sambuca, although she's opting for flaming Sambuca, which I'm strongly suggesting she doesn't do, considering the gas is on. Enough of this nonsense. Now, by this point in the series of Doctor Who, a lot of people were asking questions. It settled in. They were enjoying it 3 weeks into the show, and they were wondering, oh, are they going to bring back old enemies? Are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? So to celebrate that, and the fact a lot of you have been asking me a lot of questions since this series began, it's a Q&A episode. That's right. Guy and myself have got one planned a bit later down the line, which will be more of an interview thing. But as for this week, you guys have been sending me some questions, and I'm going to answer them by Jove with my mouth. So hopefully we'll have a lot of fun. I'll learn a bit about myself as you learn about me, and also this won't be a 5-hour episode like all the previous ones. So let's see how we go. Just so you know, I have been collecting the questions that I've been asked over the course of the day that I am recording this episode. I have not thought of my answers. So there may be some umming, there may be some ahhing, and there may be some strange sounds I make to fill the time whilst I think. But mostly I did this because it'd be more surprising, it'd be more spontaneous. So, without further ado... Oh, hang on. It's a premeditated spontaneity, isn't it? I thought it'd be interesting to not be prepared, so I didn't prepare. But then I've not prepared on purpose, which is, in a sense, preparing. So the first question is from... This is a fun one. This is from Saba, Smenant394 on Twitter. Hello, Saba. And Saba asks, why do you love Karen Gillan? That's pretty obvious, isn't it? She's bloody marvellous. I'll be honest, I think Karen Gillan is amazing, and she knows it, bless her. Simply because she's one of the nicest people I've ever got to work with in a guest capacity. Working with Children's BBC, I got to do a live morning with her, her first bit of live telly, and she was fantastic. She was very nervous, but took to it really quickly, and was absolutely adorable. It was the day before the 11th hour went out, so, you know, she was naturally a little bit nervous about what people were going to think, but she smashed it. She was brilliant. And then she has to come back, and she filmed some sketches with us a couple of months later, I think around about the time The Hungry Earth went out, actually. And she was brilliant. She was lovely. She's mad as a box of frogs. She's gorgeous. She's silly. I thought it was adorable because I'm not particularly tall, but whenever we filmed sketches on what was essentially our green screen setup in the London studios, the shot was always a certain height. We couldn't go above a certain height because it was quite a small studio, so we were working with a limited space. When Karen came in, she had to remove her shoes to sort of be a little bit more level. So she took off her slight platforms. She was barefoot, and she was still taller than me. So Karen, well done for being tall. That's an anecdote that went nowhere. Well done for being lovely. And that's why I love her, Saba, because she's brilliant. She's absolutely smashing. She also has a very good gift of... Because I love Doctor Who. We know this. I absolutely love it. But like everything you love, there's always a couple things that upset you, or things that make you go, oh, things you don't enjoy as much. And usually it's because you love it so much, you get overly critical or over-analytical. And Amy and Rory's story arcs sometimes could be a little bit meh, but Karen and Arthur Darville for that matter, are spectacular at elevating the material. So if something isn't quite good enough or at the same par as it has been previously, they can make it better, and I admire her as an actor for that. She's superb at that, and I wish her every success. She just recently won an Empire Award as well, which happened the day after Guy and I did a podcast where we talked about how lovely she was, and now she should get all the awards. So, you know, fate that, innit? Karen, if you're listening, which you aren't, call me. Okay, this next question is from Cream. Bit weird. Not like the substance, I'm guessing, unless it's grown sentient and solid, creamy fingers of justice that can type away at the keyboard of quizzicality. And I'm talking nonsense. Cream, or Rabina B on Twitter asks, What's your favourite Doctor Who gadget? There's not a large selection of gadgets really in Doctor Who, is there? I mean, if we're looking specifically at the last 10 years, it's mostly sonic devices or laser devices or, just basically things that make this noise. What a treat there. Or this noise. Oh, lovely that, isn't it? Oh, it's like theatre of the mind. Or a grown man with too many sonic screwdrivers on his desk pointing them at a microphone. I think I'm going to narrow it down to sonic gadgets, and I think my favourite sonic gadget is probably the sonic pen from Partners in Crime, because it's a handy device to have. It's actually a bloody pen. So, alright, it may not be able to work on wood, but it can still write on it. And also the psychic paper, which Russell brought into Series 1 as a narrative device to sort of just cut the fat out, really. Like, oh, what's that? You can't get into this place. Well, let's not spend 10 minutes with the Doctor trying to figure a route into this place, or sneak in with a sonic screwdriver. Let's have him walk right up to the door, great big smile on his lovely Salfordian face, thrust out the psychic paper and be like, hello, this is me, and this is why I'm here. And let whoever's looking at it go, oh, right, and come to their own conclusion and be fooled by it. I think it's brilliant. It's an excellent narrative device, and it'd be so helpful, wouldn't it? I keep losing my gym card, like, all the time, which is not an excuse, by the way, but it may as well be. And it'd be great. I could just take my psychic paper along. In fact, to get free membership, that'd be amazing. But yeah, so there you go. Cream, psychic paper. This one is from Francis Millen. Hello, Francis Millen, or Francis Milan, on Twitter. When are you bringing back Totally Doctor Who? Oh, Francis, I wish I could. I really wish I could. Wouldn't that be amazing if Totally Doctor Who came back? We've talked about this on the Rose Afterparty, but for those who don't know, Totally Doctor Who was a show that went out in 2006 and 2007 on CBBC that was presented by Liz off Blue Peter and Barney Harwood, I believe, which was essentially a magazine/companion show to Doctor Who. It went out every Thursday, I believe, and had behind-the-scenes featurettes and interviews with actors and stuff from the previous weekend's episode, and would also include an exclusive clip of the upcoming episode from the Saturday that was coming up. And it ran during Series 2 and Series 3. Really cool idea. I think the reason why it went away was because, even though I imagine it didn't cost too much to make, it has something to do with repeatability. You can't really repeat that show or sell it in any form of syndication because otherwise it's old news. So as exciting as it was to get a show that was like, did you really enjoy Rise of the Cybermen? Brilliant. Well, we've got Paul Casey to talk about playing a Cyberman, and we've got an interview with like Roger Lloyd Pack talking about being Lumic, and here's some of the Cybermen in the studio, and we're going to be doing this and the other. Like, that's fine. But then it's the whole, right, building up to next week, we've got an exclusive clip of The Idiot's Lantern. Oh, fantastic. Right. Well, that's old news now. So that's an entire 5 minutes of your repeat kind of wasted. Which is, it's a shame. And also Doctor Who's about change. So that kind of show could adapt. It'd be great for it to exist still in a form because it could adapt to the constant shift of the show. But at the same time, it would then appear stilted and old itself if you caught the repeats. It's such a weird one. As a fan, I would love to see it return. As a presenter, I'd love to have a slice of that cake. I'd love to present it. It'd be amazing. But it's not up to me. And it's not really up to the Doctor Who team either. So, I don't know. If you guys really would like to see Totally Doctor Who and get people thinking about how it could come back, maybe as a web series, maybe as an iPlayer exclusive, maybe just whatever it could be, let people know. Let the BBC know, let Doctor Who know, let BBC Wales know. Just say, like, it'd be nice for this to come back, generate interest. If there's an interest, then no matter how expensive it may be, or how complicated it could be, or the repeat element or whatever, if there's an interest, if there's a market for something, TV companies will go, okay, let's see what we can do. So, who knows? Who knows, eh? Who knows? And if you could suggest I present it, I wouldn't exactly tell you not to do that, because that would be a lot of fun. So there you go, Francis Milan. Let's see what else we've got. Matt Bob Ross. Okay, fair enough. I'm just going to paint a happy little bush there. That bush will be our secret. I believe everything's better when you paint. So many people confused right now. Matt Bob Ross says, which stories do you think would work better with a different Doctor? Wow. Oh, see, I don't know about which stories would work better with a different Doctor, but I can think of stories where a different Doctor would adapt to it a different way, and it would be interesting or compelling. Like, for example, Mummy on the Orient Express, favourite episode of Series 8 of the 2014 series. Absolutely adore Mummy on the Orient Express. I could easily see Tom Baker starring in that story. It'd be amazing. Similarly, I'd like to see how the Ninth Doctor deals with that story, because that'd be quite cool. But I don't know about better. See, there is always a bit of hangover where in every new Doctor's first series, there is usually one or two stories that were a script that existed for the previous Doctor. So it's had to be tweaked or catered to just enough to work, and then it's left up to the actors to kind of, make their interpretation of the character fit the story. But occasionally the lines might feel a bit out of place. It can happen. It's TV production. If your actor is recast long before you're writing that series specifically, then you're going to have to be like, oh, well, we were starting pre-production on this story, or we were looking at this story to be included, but new actor, what are we going to do? So you've got to play around and toy with it. But there's a few actors I'd like to see in different stories just to see how they deal with it. I would have absolutely loved to have seen The Unquiet Dead, to tie it into this week's selected episode, with Paul McGann's Doctor, through his the earlier side of his incarnation, the TV movie side, like through his very romanticised view of the galaxy and the world. Like, he would have been like, oh, we're in Cardiff. I think he would have swept through it. But then again, you can't knock how Nine interacted with Charles Dickens and stuff. It was so much fun. I don't know. I'd love to take a modern Doctor and thrust him into a classic adventure. I think that'd be an interesting experiment if there was some way to do that. Like, especially with stories like Castrovalva, Fifth Doctor's first story, which a lot of people really enjoy. I find it really boring because it's mostly just the Doctor lying around in a pill-shaped coffin medical bed thing and lots of maths happening. Oh, actually, no, maths was tracking, wasn't it? No, ignore me. Point is, I would like to see a more action-packed modern Doctor deal with the slower-paced stories, just to see what would happen. If you've got any cool suggestions, let me know. But imagine chucking 10 into Castrovalva. Like, post-regeneration or not, he would have been leaping about, sword fighting with everything, breaking Adric out of that weird, strangely kinky trap that the Master had him in. All that good stuff. By Jove. So yeah, I mean, imagine 12, for example. You pop 12 into a scenario with a lot of padding, he's just going to get impatient, which would be fun. So that's my answer, Bob Ross. Matt Bob Ross. Everything's better when you paint. I'm not sure if having another Doctor would improve a story, but it'd certainly make it interesting in a different way. Guy Lambert. Hello, Guy. You're right. If you want to know more about Guy and you haven't been listening already, go back and listen to the Rose commentary and the Rose Afterparty. He's a lovely man who is a little bit mental. He says, if you could have booked anybody for 9 is 10 from the classic series of the original run of the show, who would it have been? Wow. Okay. I would have... Serious answer? I would like to have chatted with Sylvester McCoy or Paul McGann, because they dealt with the first attempted reboot. They dealt with the 1996 TV movie, and it'd be interesting to get their perspective. Because I love the TV movie. I know it's not great, but I do really enjoy it, and a lot of the stuff I like is the stuff that kind of damaged it. For example, having the Seventh Doctor in the story... spoiler alert, if you've never watched it, do give it a watch. Having the Seventh Doctor in the story and then having him regenerate means a whole batch of people are going to be like, what? Hang on, I thought he was the main character. Why is he... What? Now, some people will then be more fascinated. They'll be like, oh, wow, he's changing. What is this? But a lot of others will just immediately feel detached from it. There's certain choices that you can make narratively with your main character that can really put off audiences on a kind of subconscious level. For example, the Hulk. There's a great example for you. Not in Doctor Who, but maybe he should be. If you go and watch a Hulk movie, specifically Hulk, so the old Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno TV movies, or Ang Lee's Hulk. I don't know why anyone would choose to watch that movie, or the Incredible Hulk, even, which is part of the old glorious can do no wrong Marvel Cinematic Universe. But if you look at any of those movies, you're never going to fully love those films, and you're never going to really fully love Bruce Banner, despite how well he's played, because on a subconscious level, you've gone to watch a Hulk movie to see the Hulk. What's Bruce Banner's goal in those films? To cure himself of the Hulk. So even though you're supporting him, you're like, yeah, Bruce, of course, I can't wait for you to save the day. I hope you and Betty get to leave and be happy and the military stop pursuing you. Ultimately, he's trying to get rid of the reason you came to see the film. And that is, even though you're not thinking about it, in the back of your mind, that's going to stop you from fully supporting Bruce Banner. And it's, it's the same with the TV movie for Doctor Who. As a fan of the classic run, I really should stop calling it that. It's the original run, I suppose. As a fan of of classic Who, if you go back and watch the TV movie, it's kind of brilliant because you get to see something that, Colin was denied. You get to see Sylvester in his final moments regenerate. Bit of a cop out how it's done, but then again, that's the nature of Doctor Who. Anything could happen. You get to see him regenerate, and you love that. And it's like, box ticked, there's a Doctor's regeneration, love it. However, that's going to have put off half the audience who are unfamiliar with it. So it's harmful. So it would have been nice to sit down with Paul or Sylvester and talk about how they view the relaunch in 2005, how they view Rose specifically, and where they think theirs was better or where theirs fell short in comparison, and whether or not Paul would have liked to have regenerated in the new series at the beginning. Obviously, spoiler alert, for several years later, we finally got to see the 8th Doctor's regeneration, but not into the Doctor we thought it was going to be, which was brilliant, in 2013. But it would have been nice to have got his opinion there and then, you see. Well. My non-serious answer, Guy, is Canon Smallwood. Now, Dr. Alex Gilston, who is known on Twitter as Time Travel Collab, says, do you think the executive producer slot needs a bit of a reshuffle? And then they suggest Mark Gatiss to take over, maybe? I absolutely adore Mark, and I don't just say that because he did the intro to last episode. I have got a long history of being a fan of Mark's, specifically because one of my first real big loves as a TV show when I was a teenager, that I really became, I wanted to know it inside and out, was The League of Gentlemen. I adore The League of Gentlemen so much. I even love the movie. Even fans of the show don't love the movie, and I love the movie. I think it's brilliant. I think the entire catalogue of work that the four of them did together is astounding. And ever since I've followed what they've been up to, I adore what Jeremy Dyson has done. He's done sort of horror books and stuff, which are amazing. He co-created Ghost Stories with Andy Nyman, which, if you've ever seen that show, it is spectacular. A night out you'll never forget, and probably won't be able to sleep after. And I've seen it 5 times, and it still gives me the willies. Ooh. I absolutely love what Rishi Smith and Steve Pemberton do. Psychoville, I was obsessed with. I love Inside Number 9. And Mark, of course, has kind of crossed over into lots of other stuff, but mostly Doctor Who and Sherlock. And I really like Mark's mindset. I like his imagination. I like his passion for the historical kind of stories. I like how he can write episodes like Robot of Sherwood or Victory of the Daleks, which can have humour and sort of a bit of camp, a bit of, like a romp kind of mentality, even in the midst of the danger of the story. But I also like how he can go a bit more twisted, like with The Unquiet Dead, like with Night Terrors, parts of The Idiot's Lantern, like the whole Faceless People stuff. I really like Mark. And I really like his work on Doctor Who. Do I think Mark should be the showrunner? I don't know. As weird as that sounds. Because I adore Stephen Moffat's stories pre-showrunner. That's not to say I don't like his stories post-showrunner, while showrunner. But I adore Stephen Moffat pre-showrunner. I love his Series 1 story, Series 2, Series 3, and Series 4. I think they're fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And do you know what? I still do. Those stories are brilliant. but I feel like the showrunner position means you have to spread out a bit more. Now, Russell kind of created the position of Doctor Who showrunner / head writer, so it was more ingrained within him. But as the series went on, he does less episodes. Now, Stephen does a lot of episodes, and I think if that was the format that Mark went into, he'd have to be stretched a bit more. So I think Mark could showrun it, but only if he really was, doing the first story, the last story, and maybe one story in the middle. I enjoy the. I started like Boris Johnson then. I enjoy the series of Doctor Who post 2010 where Stephen isn't doing like 90% of the scripts more than I do the ones where he's doing a lot of them, and that's just because I like to see the concentrated idea that the writer has. I always feel that it's strongest when it's given to us in doses as opposed to a fine spread. Like I don't like to butter my sausage sandwiches with ketchup before I put the sausages in. I blob the ketchup in higgledy-piggledy before I close the bread on it. It's always going to come back to food with me. I don't think the show needs a new showrunner, but I can't deny, as a fan of the show, I wouldn't mind a change of showrunner, whether it be Mark for a series or for a stretch, or whether it be like Jamie Matheson or what have you, just because it keeps it fresh, and that's part of what makes it exciting. My least favourite era of the classic run, for example, is. Which isn't to say there aren't stories in it I like, and I love all the Doctors. I mean, I absolutely love all the Doctors. But is when John Nathan Turner was in charge. For me, personally, that's just the era I enjoy the least. Basically the 80s, essentially. And it's because there's a very specific mentality that stays throughout the run. And it's one that I just don't enjoy as much as I did, the previous stuff with, where it was people like, Barry Letts and Terrence Dicks and everybody in charge. I welcome a new showrunner, if only because I like the nature of the show to change often. And I think Mark would make a cracking one, but as long as he's not being made to do everything, because then we wouldn't get the concentrated brilliance of 2 or 3 stories. We would get the spread out okayishness of like 7 or 8. So that's my overcomplicated answer that wasn't that funny. So to make up for it, I'm going to make a fart noise. That was my fart noise. Meg the Dulio on Twitter. Hello, Meg. Meg says, if you were in Doctor Who, what character would you play? Oh, no. Oh, that's tough. You know why that's difficult? Because it's a show I absolutely adore, and if I was in it a lot, I think I would find that really weird, because I wouldn't watch it anymore. I don't tend to like watching myself back in anything, unless it's like really funny, not necessarily funny because of me, but because of the stuff that happens. But at the same time, wouldn't it be great to get to play out for a while, and play in that world for a long period? Oh, if I were a more attractive, slimmer man, I'd probably audition for a companion role and do like a series. That would be amazing. That'd be so much fun to be a part of. But similarly, like henchman to a recurring villain would be a lot of fun as well, because you get to be the bad guy, but not take center stage. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know. Get in touch with Andy Pryor. Ask him what character he thinks I should play. Yeah. Don't do that. That'd be classed as trolling. Don't do it, please. Jenny, hello Jenny, or Bluebox99. If you could be a companion, well, there you go, to any Doctor, which one would you choose? Wow. I've answered a question similar to this on Tumblr in the past, where they said if you could travel with one Doctor for one day, which would it be? And for that, I said the 9th Doctor, because he's really bloody unhappy, and I just want him to go wherever he wants to show off, really. I just like, do you know what? Take me somewhere amazing. That'll be a laugh. Let's go somewhere that'll be a laugh. Because I'd like to see him happy, which is a really soppy and sappy answer, I'm sorry, but it's true. But if I had to be a companion with a Doctor for a while, second Doctor, Patrick Troughton, hands down. He is so lovely. I mean, let's be honest, Jamie would probably get a bit jealous if you were travelling with him, but it could be like a season 6B scenario or something where it's just a pocket of adventures with you two and you're having a laugh. I'd love to travel with the second Doctor. That would genuinely warm my winter cockles, which is a phrase I don't like to use very often. Ryan Jones. I just want to sound a little bit more extravagant with my pronunciations. It's Ryan Joins. Hello, Ryan. Ryan says, what would be your ideal Doctor and companion combo? Any Doctor with any companion. Wow. Well, I would say 9 and Rose, because I adore them together. Or 7 and Ace, because I think they're brilliant. Or, again, Third Doctor and Jo. I love watching them. 4th and Sarah Jane. But I suppose what you're asking me is a mishmash. So if we had to do that, I would like to partner, and I'm going to say him again, because I do love him. I would put the 8th Doctor, because he's bloody lovely. Actually, wow, okay, thinking of this off the top of my head, I'd put the 8th Doctor with Amy Pond. And I'll tell you for why. If she fancied her imaginary friend when he was a big coiffure drunken giraffe in a bow tie, imagine the sort of unnecessarily romantic and sexy shenanigans they'd be getting up to when he's like a, Wild Bill Hickok looking romantic universe wanderer. But also because it'd be interesting to see him, who is very, sweeping and whatnot in that period, anyway, the TV movie sort of period of his incarnation, dealing with the overly sexualized and sexually driven Amy Pond of Series 5. Because it would be so bloody awkward. That would be nice. But also, here's one. The First Doctor and Martha Jones. Because Martha Jones is one of the most proactive companions ever. She can really look out for herself. To the point where, life after the Doctor, she didn't stop. She carried on. Same could be said for Sarah Jane, but I mean, like Martha Jones is sort of in the more military, action-y, taking charge kind of aspect. It'd be nice to see the First Doctor with a companion who could absolutely, outrank him in terms of her, not experience, but, she wouldn't take any of his shit, basically. And that'd be quite nice. So, sort of earlier, stricter First Doctor. That'd be fun. I'd like to see that. Thanks, Ryan. And apologies if I got your name wrong. Finally, this is a double bill question, which has been sent to me by the absolutely fantastic Lewis. Hello, Lewis. LWSCHRSTN on Twitter, if you're after Lewis. He's been doing the hashtag FantasticS1 event on Twitter to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the 9th Doctor. Wow, title of my own show and I can't even get it right. And Lewis has been doing that live tweet-alongs with episode viewings. You may have missed them if you're listening to this after the second week of April. But he's always doing Doctor Who-related stuff, always doing tweet-alongs, always commenting on the show, talking about it. Please do follow him on Twitter, at LWSCHRSTN. It's well worth a follow, he's brilliant. Lewis asks 2 questions. Number 1, if you could play a villain or monster, who would you want to be? Well, if they're ever after a fat, slightly too tall Sontaran, I'd be delighted to play that. I don't know. I'd love to see that'd be better than playing a companion for me, because you're in one story, you leave your mark. If you're crap, no one can complain that you're always in it. If you're good, everyone will wish you were in it again. But if not, you've got that one good one that exists that you're in. And also, I love to play dress up. I've never been given the chance to really use prosthetics, and I think that'd be a lot of fun. Because obviously, Modern Doctor Who, a lot of it is about prosthetics and makeup effects and everything. So that'd be cool. I'd love to play a monster. I don't know if I'd like to play a monster that already exists, though. I think I'd like to play one that maybe hasn't been done before. Maybe something with I don't know, spaghetti coming out of my eye holes. Not really, I just thought that sounded painful. Imagine that, having just strings of spaghetti slowly coming out of your pupils. Bit disgusting. But yeah, who would you want me to play, Lewis? Tell me on Twitter. Who would you like? What sort of monster would you like me to play? I could probably pass for a Slitheen in human form. Secondly, Lewis says, which deadly game show in Bad Wolf would you least like to be a part of? Big Brother, because even in the future it's still tedious. Pretty much. I suppose that one wasn't as deadly, I guess. Maybe the Trinny and Susanna thing that Jack was doing, cause good God, like I'd be like, look, just eliminate me now because I can't take you seriously with your molded plastic robot boobies. just eliminate me now. Give me a nice jacket and then eliminate me. So yeah, that's my answer to a very bizarre question. Thank you for that, Lewis. Thank you to everybody who sent them in. If you want to ask me any more questions, please do on Twitter @officialcdj about Doctor Who, or on Tumblr, even better, because I can give you a proper essay-esque answer on Tumblr. Official CDJ on Tumblr. Also, get in touch with @SohoGuy on Twitter, because Guy is going to be doing, ladies and gentlemen, a bigger Q&A with me later in the run about my TV work, and TV work specifically that ties into Doctor Who. So if you want to get involved with that, contact @SohoGuy on Twitter. Not only that, by Jove, we have got a bunch of guests coming up I'm so excited to reveal to you, but like I say, I can only do it each week. So far we've had Guy Lambert, TV producer, the writer of Amazing Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man and Silver Surfer, Dan Slott, for End of the World. If you haven't listened to that episode, please do. There is an excellent story where he reveals what would happen if Dan, the man who writes Spider-Man, wrote the Doctor meeting Spider-Man. And it is brilliant. Like, it's superb. So give the End of the World podcast a listen. Also last week, the wonderful Jenny Lipman, who brought along possibly the most enthusiastic and lovely voice we've had on the podcast. No offence to Guy and Dan, but you can listen to Jenny talk for hours, unlike me, who you can only listen to for about 33 minutes before it gets boring. But don't worry, the podcast's nearly coming to an end. And of course, a sneaky little intro from Mr. Mark Gatiss last week as well. If you haven't listened to the Unquiet Dead one, give it a listen. Listen to Mark, listen to me and Jenny, listen to the Gelf, pity the Gelf, buy the Gelf a sandwich, let them, sleep on your couch for a few nights. I mean, they're looking for places to stay. And they're all very hungover, because this was the Unquiet Dead After Party. I'll be back later in the week for Aliens of London with, drums please, Mr. Richard Brooks of the Five Who fans. So join me on Thursday for that treat. It's farting aliens, it's Parliament. You think the election coverage on TV is a bit boring? Well, wait till you see what it's like when there's a big green beanie thing living inside a politician. Don't know why I sang that. Ta-ra!